Hi, this is another episode of the Critical Introverts podcast. I'm your host, Senor Filth, and I have Benevolent Asshole. This is the first episode, I think, that it's just been the two of us, so let's see where this goes. um, I guess let's just jump into the shooting that happened. I guess I'll ask you first. What would you say is an aspect of the gun debate that completely gets overlooked off the top of your head? Not just banning guns, but like what's another aspect of it that people just don't want to talk about?
Um, that's a good question.
Not on a broader sense, you know?
In a broader sense, um, I don't know. It seems like it's just distracting because
Mm-hmm.
nobody is talking about because anything could be used as a weapon. Like
Mm-hmm.
I'll go with that. Like anything could be used as a weapon.
Mm-hmm.
For example, like what happened like in Wisconsin with the one guy that ran over the people in the Christmas
Yeah,
parade.
the Waukesha, yeah.
The Waukesha, Wisconsin massacre.
Mm-hmm.
I can't remember the exact details, but a lot of people lost their lives. A lot of innocent people lost their
Yeah.
lives. There's like this one uh, crazy guy that got into his car. I don't know. Suppose allegedly he was running away or he was trying to get away from police, and
The
he
Waukesha
actually
guy?
the Waukesha guy. So, from what I read,
That
supposedly he
was
was
the I think the story, but I think he just legitimately
just
just did it on his
on
own
purpose.
whim because I think he was like a rapper and even like a black supremacist kind of guy, and there's even videos of him.
I think they took him down, right? I think the like right away, like when it happened.
I want to say fuck. I want to say there's like what do you call it, like security cam footage of him trying to like go into someone's house or something like that, or maybe I'm confusing that with someone else. But yeah, I'm not sure if he's alive or so, but yeah. But no, just the fact that like that didn't really make that much of a news.
Yeah, because he actually like drove right through the barricade, and there's
Yeah.
actual footage of him actually like plowing through people,
Hmm.
and like some of the people that were actually like ran over were actually like grandmas. And it's
Yeah.
like grandmas and actually innocent people. All the people that you could do this to, like
Yeah.
he targeted grandmas and like little innocent kids at a Christmas parade when everybody
Yeah.
is supposed to like this to be gathered to like enjoy the holidays.
Yeah.
It's like that's something that just didn't get the attention that it deserved, and we're not banning. It's like I mean, what can you do? I mean, you start banning cars now.
Yeah.
It's like it's not about the weapon; it's about the individual, and
Yeah.
we tend to keep pivoting or we keep
Hmm.
uh, changing the subject. It's not about the guns. Like guns don't have any legs. Like you need to have like somebody actually like
Yeah.
get a hold of the gun.
Yeah, did you see that that there's like a clip going around, like a news report of like a public school in, I want to say New Mexico, of like all the teachers are fucking strapped, and it's I you know what I'm talking about? Have you seen that
Yeah,
clip?
I think I've seen that where
Yeah.
they all have like handguns and they're
Yeah, and
ready to go. I
it's
think what's wrong what's wrong with having uh, teachers do that?
hmm.
But I wanted to go back to some of the details, like with the story with
Hmm.
the gunman, like that happened recently. And how do you say it? Is it Uvaldo, Texas? Uvaldo, Texas.
I
Think
I
I'm
think
saying it
El
wrong.
Valde. I can't remember.
It,
You wanna?
it's crazy because we actually like as little kids we actually drove through there like going to Mexico as little kids, and I remember like
Yeah. Do you,
driving.
do you know anything about whether or not like as far as that part of Texas, how they are with like gun laws? You know anything about that or no?
I don't see I'm not like an expert
Mm.
like with like all that stuff, but like I wanted to do is ask like how come people are not asking like the right questions in terms of, like, because everybody's so focused like, oh well, he shouldn't have had access to buying a gun. The real question is like, how was he able to afford those guns? And
Yeah,
all the
wasn't
ammunition?
it like $7,000 worth of
Yeah, I was
something
hearing
like that?
people that say that it was from gun experts, or people that were like
Hmm.
saying that it was anywhere between like $5 to $7,000. I
Yeah,
mean, with all the ammunition, like he killed like 21 people. It's like
yeah,
you must have had a lot of like ammunition on you.
yeah,
And how do you get a hold of all that money to buy those guns? Like, who gave you that money? It's
yeah.
like
And
you
he's
don't.
a teen too, so
He was, yeah. It was prior to becoming 18. So it's all
yeah,
these questions, and the problem is that everybody is so focused on, well, you should have had access to buying a gun and
yeah,
all this. So everybody, so the focus, instead of asking all these other questions, like about his history, like his mental
hmm,
capacity, like none of that, everything else is ignored,
yeah,
and you're kind of forced into thinking, oh, okay, well, I guess like we need like more gun gun rules or more gun laws. It's like,
yeah.
okay.
I think a lot of it is kind of like like that virtue signaling's kind of gone haywire, because I think it's easy for someone to say, "Oh my God, like gun laws now," you know what I mean, and then just move along into the next subject. But it takes, like, if you really care about trying to fix the issue, whatever the issue is, you kind of take in as many factors and ask as many questions to see what the hell is going on. Um, like
Mhm.
there is a mental health aspect of all this shit, and like, is anyone just gonna ignore the fact that, like, maybe COVID has had a pretty strong effect on people's mental health in general?
Yeah,
But
what I was gonna say, like, do you have some of the pictures that I gave you? I think there's one by Liz Wheeler where she
uh,
addresses that. She's talking about like the COVID lockdowns having an effect, and then
did you
uh,
send them to me, or
yeah, there's. Am I able to send them to you through the chat?
I think so. I think you're able to. Are you able to share? Is there or is that just me?
Am I able to drop this? Drop it. Let me see if I can send it to the chat. No, it's like secure. Let me see. I can share my screen. Let me see what it's doing. Okay, let me see if I can share my screen.
Yeah, because I'm not. I think you're able to. I think. Uh, or if not, just send it to the private chat. Um.
Okay, I'm sharing, but
Okay,
are you
there it
able to
is.
see it?
Okay, I got it. Yeah.
Okay. So this is like Liz Wheeler. I'm not sure. I got this from Instagram. I'm not sure if she
Hmm.
was. Yeah, I think she posted this on Instagram.
Yeah.
But she, yeah, like some of the things that you pointed out, like she's talking about isolated lockdowns.
Hmm.
So these are some of the other variables that could have played a role, like in what happened, like absent father,
Yeah.
mother addicted to drugs, sent to live with grandmother. He was
Yeah.
a loner, isolated by lockdowns. There was,
Aggressive.
yeah, aggressive behavior, fights in school, self harm. Yeah, there's like I forgot where I read, but there's either talking about like he used to like cut himself or something
Yeah.
like that, and then violent video games, unrestricted internet access. So this one's like a really big one because that
Hmm.
one can just like really warp your mind. If you
Yeah.
if you're not being watched by anybody, you're living with your grandma or grandma,
Yeah.
like your grandma's just not gonna be as vigilant as having a dad. Like you're gonna you're just gonna I don't know, like this kid was like
Hmm.
17, 18, like unsupervised. Like think about like when you were that age, like
Yeah. Yeah.
what kind of like junk do you think you're gonna like stumble onto? And It's
No
gonna it
friends.
warps people's minds and it changes people's behaviors. And
Yeah.
then she mentions no friends, just online chat. So not having friends and just not really interacting with people in
Mm-hmm.
person, and so that's gonna create like an awkwardness of not know having social cues, not knowing how to
Mm-hmm.
interact with each other. I'm awkward myself, but like you're
Yeah.
just not, if you don't have any friends, you're not at least making an effort. I make an effort to be as as charming as possible. But
Well,
just
the
yeah,
friends, the no having friends thing
yeah.
is interesting because like I find it harder and harder to have these kind of conversations with just like regular friends and stuff like that. And it's kind of maybe depressing, I guess would be the word, to think that like you can't have these conversations with, just your homeboy or something like that. Because it, I don't know, it's like like how many just regular people around you like do you have these kind of talks with? Yeah,
Me.
yeah.
That's the problem. That's why I'm here because I don't have like actually that many people that'll take my crap.
Yeah,
Um, but the thing is like
but I think
it's,
on a bigger picture, like how many people just have these conversations and just ignore this and just, oh my god, look at this cat video or some shit like that. And like you know these things that we talk about are like pretty important things, and you know to just ignore them, like I can't go on like just ignoring these concerns I have, because I do see doing this show as kind of like somewhat therapeutic for me.
yeah.
And like if I were to just not have these conversations at all and just have this be all in my head, like, I'm thinking about this stuff, but think about the other people that don't think about this stuff at all, and they're wondering like why they're depressed and why, they can't put two and two together, that like, gas prices are high, so that's making them more anxious, and that's making them more depressed, and they're drinking more or smoking more weed or something like that.
Yeah.
Um, so just things like that, like, do contribute um, on a very big societal level, and
Mhm.
like like it's a bummer that this kind of stuff, like this kind of conversation, it's never going to be like prime time television.
Well, you got to think about like his age too.
Mm-hmm.
It must be a lot harder for anybody
Mm-hmm.
around that age because you're still developing those skills. You're still trying to figure out who you are. You're still
Yeah.
trying to find a purpose in life.
Yeah.
And with us, like we at least like we've lived a little. We've made mistakes. We know what to avoid. We kind of have like a little bit of leeway versus like
Mm-hmm.
somebody that just kind of like had to go through the lockdowns and like they're
Yeah.
stuck at home, not had you don't have anybody to talk to. You're just kind of like easily impressionable, but
Yeah.
you're impressed by like whatever it is that you see on TV. Oh, I could do this, or I could do that.
Yeah.
And I think there's like an article too that I didn't get to read. I read like a few other ones, but like one of the articles that I didn't read, just like the headline
Yeah.
was I think had something to do with like one of the true crime or true something. One of the shows with
Oh,
having to do with like a serial killer, and supposedly that had like a little bit of an influence on him.
really?
I don't think you should blame like
Yeah. I
TV,
mean,
but like
yeah.
if that's all he knew.
Yeah. Yeah. Like, and I saw that list that is it Liz Wheeler? But
Liz Wheeler, she's like a
yeah.
reporter on OAN.
Yeah. Like when I see the list, like I
Yeah.
look at the violent video games thing, and I'm like, I don't know about that, but because that stuff like that seems like a little bit of um, an easy thing to target.
Hmm.
Um, but the other things like the fatherlessness, and that's a huge issue. And
Yeah.
when I was a kid going to school, like it was like kids thought it was weird that both my parents were together. Like like their parents are all divorced and shit like that. Like, fuck, man. Like,
And that's funny too because I kind of like experienced the same thing
mm-hmm,
because I was lucky enough to kind of like grow up with both of them as well.
mm-hmm,
And a lot of my friends growing up didn't have that in their life. They didn't have both of their parents either. Like they grew up with their mom, their dad, or their uncle, and
yeah,
so it was for me. I feel a little bit isolated or not be able to really
yeah,
connect with other people because I'm like, well, like even though they weren't perfect, but they're like probably the best parents like anybody can have. But
yeah,
um, I don't know. I felt like a little bit of an isolation because I couldn't connect with them because they were like, it did have an effect on them. Not having
mm-hmm,
their mom or not having their dad. There was like a, um, they lack guidance or
mm-hmm,
they tended to um, fall into temptation and get into these bad habits. I'm like, why are you into that? It's like, well,
yeah,
it makes sense now. If they're not getting the attention from somebody,
yeah,
or they're not getting the direction and guidance from somebody, they're gonna fall into like these bad
yeah,
these things that you should like. Video games aren't bad, but like I think if you don't have any, not I mean, they're not bad, but like if you don't have somebody there to be like kind
mm-hmm,
of like watch what you're doing or kind of like watch your behavior,
yeah,
like it can. I think it could lead to something just like fuck that shit. Like I'm gonna go kill my or like
yeah,
I'm gonna go do this. I think if you grow up in a healthy family, video game, you can.
yeah,
It's it's a lot easier to like play
yeah,
the video games because you have the right guidance, you have the right, I guess emotional support
yeah.
from.
But also, you know, like people probably think of this and say like, you know, our parents were the shit, and like, you know, our parents, they did the best they could, but there's still something about having both in there, just on like little subconscious things. Like it just very early on like makes you think like there's two sides to everything and there's two different perspectives. Like my dad approached things one way and my mom approached things a different way,
Mm-hmm.
and it kind of like instilled in me that like that's how you have to sort of approach things, like through different perspectives.
Yeah, there's like a balance in that because
Mm-hmm,
women tend to be more nurturing
mm-hmm,
versus men tend to be more driven and more um, so that were authoritative,
yeah,
more decisive. So
yeah,
I mean, it's good to have both of those because if you just have like a nurturing mom, like you're kind of like lacking that other side of like discipline that comes from
yeah,
like it comes a lot easier from a man. It's a lot
mm-hmm,
harder, and then versus like a man, it's a lot harder for a man to be nurturing. Like a man can be like, "Oh, it's okay, my little," like you're not gonna do that. Like even like Bill Burr will like make jokes out of like men that like I think he did like a joke where he's talking about that men have a hard time admitting that a puppy is cute.
yeah, yeah,
Like which is that's kind of like an exaggeration, like, but that's still kind of like like
yeah,
most men, like it's hard for them to show that sensitive side because it's not in our nature.
yeah,
Versus like a woman, it's a lot easier. Oh yeah, come like you're hurt. It's okay. I can.
yeah,
And I think to an extent, kids do need that. But then at a certain point, um, the dad does need to come in and be like, okay,
mm-hmm,
like you can eat this or you can do this, but to a
yeah,
certain point, like he has to set the guidelines. He has to like write the line on the floor. You can't just like versus because the problem that I see with just having like single moms is that
mm-hmm,
eventually like they're so nurturing to the point where
yeah,
let kids do whatever they want. They won't have any restrictions. They'll let them do whatever they want, and they confuse that with thinking, "Oh, I'm being a good mom." You're being a good mom, but you're
yeah,
only part of you're only giving them part of it,
yeah,
and that's why the dad having both the dad and the mom are important because they both complement each other. Not to say one is better than the other, but
yeah.
just having both of those is more balance.
I also think too, like the subject of because like there's like this weird fatherlessness culture, like it sort of warped people's concept of compassion, I would say. Like it's easy for me, like it's easy for someone to look at us, like me and you, and say that because we don't judge things through an emotional level, that we don't have compassion for what we're talking about. But you know, like it does take some level of compassion to like look into like crime statistics and take your time like that. It's just our approach to compassion is just different, and it's not really something that it's something that's kind of gotten lost, I think. That people think that, you know, if compassion just means you know, you care so much and you cry or something like that, and you know, you go everything with a heavy heart. But you know, like, I do care about the things that we talk about, but it's, you know, I do have to consider, like, I do have to take my time to like look into certain statistics and shit like that, and that amount of effort does show my compassion for whatever the subject matter is, instead of just tweeting, doing some Obama style tweet.
Just reacting.
Yeah.
It's because it's so easy. Like, even like now, like, even though like I try to be as objective as possible, like whenever like stuff like this, like these tragedies happen, or anything that is just filled with chaos, like you it's like you're kind of like, it doesn't matter how grounded you are, you're still kind of stricken with like emotion.
Yeah.
But I think with us, we tend to like try have an ability to like calm down and just like try to take a step back. I'm like, oh, okay, this is bad. Like, but you have like this curiosity to like figure out like, okay, there has to be more to this story. This doesn't. It just doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
It just doesn't make any sense. Like, I just want to figure things out. I don't want to just like accept things for what they say, because. But back to like, let me go ahead and share this. It's not a tweet, but like something I posted on here, because the problem with what happened recently is that the only thing that you hear on the news that is when there's only one thing emphasized on the news, that tends to be like what people gravitate to. So that's what they revolve in terms of like the solution that they think that is needed. But let me see. It's better if I just share this. Let me see if I can find it. Where are you? It'll make more sense if I share this. Can you see that? See it?
There it is. Okay, yeah. Change the screen a bit. All right, cool.
Oops.
Oh.
Did it hide it?
Uh-oh.
What about now?
Okay, yeah, we got it.
Okay, so this has to do with what happened like recently, like in Texas, and a lot of people like right away, like I started reacting and said like, oh, okay, we need more like gun laws, and we need to get rid of guns and all this other stuff. Even small little things like, oh, you should have been older to like purchase a gun. Like, it's still chipping away at our rights, and people don't take into account all these other variables. And that's why I came up with this, because it's like a pattern that keeps happening over and over again, especially like during midterms. And it's when a social problem is presented on the news, specifically the mainstream news, the solution will always revolve around the details that are emphasized, which is why did an 18-year-old have the ability to purchase a gun, while ignoring everything else is ignored. I mean, how much did he pay for those guns? Who the hell got him those guns?
Yeah, it's really weird.
Yeah. And then
also I heard that he was like part of the same Discord feed as the other recent shooter. I don't know how accurate that is, but yeah, there's some weird shit with that. Anyways, continue reading.
Oh yeah, I was gonna say, and so like I refrained from like responding to a lot of like the we need to get rid of guns sort of thing, and I just this is what I came up with. I started thinking, it's like, well, even like the most practical people that I saw posting on Instagram, online, like everywhere, like you're still coming to conclusions that they expect you to. Even the most grounded and practical people fall for this. The truth is, you're being led regardless of your intelligence. It doesn't matter how intelligent you are. You're still being guided. It's like, oh, the problem. This is what you need to focus on. Don't worry about like all these other variables such
Yeah.
as what you just mentioned and all this the whole list of like that Liz Wheeler pointed out.
Yeah.
It's like, and then can we point out like he looks like he might be trans, and that's something that is controversial nowadays. You can't even talk about that. This is
Yeah.
something that we've been talking about like from the beginning of the show. Is that this is like an attack on us socially. They're trying to break
Hmm.
us down socially, and this is making us weak as people. It's like we can't even look at that variable that maybe him being confused in his gender might
Yeah.
make him depressed and just not know what direction and just build up all this frustration. Like when you're like at that age, you just you're filled up with energy, and if you don't know how to direct that energy in a positive way.
Yeah, but it to
It,
go on the COVID thing though, like I mean, you mentioned like this kid was lost, but
mhm.
you know, I can't imagine anyone within these last how long has COVID been? Like 2, 3 years or something like that. But I can't imagine anyone just not within this span of when it started, not having this like, holy shit, what am I doing with my life kind of thing.
Mhm.
Um, and I mean, I know I went through that, and you know, and I'm still pulling through it, but I, you know, uh, like my mental health isn't as bad as others, and my problems aren't as bad as others, but you know, like I have my ways to vent my concerns, but other people don't, and those other people that don't, those that's gonna kind of really eat at them, and it's gonna affect them in really, really bad ways through being, you know, frustrated to being more isolated, um, through drug abuse, whatever you want to call it. Like the just lockdowns in general are going to just mentally fuck with people. Like that's why,
Mhm.
you know, that's why like what's the when you're what's it called when you house arrest? What's it called? Is that a
You're talking about Stockholm syndrome, or
no, I'm just saying, like, just even like the punishment of house arrest, of like that, that that's a legitimate, you know, punishment because it's just you're at home and you don't have nowhere to go, and it does fuck with you. But if that's inflicted on like a society of people just told to just stay home for a period of time, and that if they don't, like, Nana might die or something like that, like that's really gonna fuck with people.
Mhm.
And you know that again, that's just something that I haven't seen anyone that was so pro lockdowns even want to admit that like it has really fucked with people's just mentality,
Mhm.
you know? And like like would you say like anyone that you've known that was like super like to this day still wears a mask and shit like that, like do you think they have any awareness that like things sort of suck nowadays because of their involvement in it?
That
They're like, you know,
they kind of like help perpetuate like
yeah,
this
yeah, yeah.
sort of like lifestyle. I don't know. It's hard to tell because I try to kind of like I would say poke people or try like say little things in here like, oh yeah, like I'm so glad like we don't have to wear a mask or like
Yeah.
stuff like that. But I can't really get like a an honest answer. I feel like I don't know. I think people are just kind of like afraid to be vocal about things.
Hmm.
I think they're afraid of confrontation, and it's hard to tell like who kind of thinks the way that we do because
Yeah.
I think a lot of people kind of like are afraid to the confrontation.
Because, you know, I've had like, you know, like relatives like be sort of snobby and nasty to me because I thought this whole COVID thing was kind of a joke from the beginning. And I would, you know, really calmly like verbalize like just things like just like the mental health thing. Like it from day one, I was always like, you know, we have to really be considerate as to like how actually realistically dangerous this thing actually is, because if we take that for granted, like just shutting people down is going to affect people mentally. And
Yeah.
you know, and a lot of, you know, relatives and stuff like that probably still look at me weird, but you know, I'm kind of right. Like it has fucked with people. And
Yeah.
do they have any awareness that maybe it's like I'm not asking for like an apology, but it's like I'm asking for at least some kind of sign of like some acknowledgement that maybe people like me, like our concerns were a lot more legitimate than just, you know, just acting kind of like a snob and, you know, ignoring it. And it's really fucked. Like it makes me wonder like how are people like us going to live the rest of our lives and see people that we grown up with, but just be part of that like I will do as I'm told like kind of crowd. Because you know, I always just assume that like people were smarter than that. But you know, it's kind of hard. It's just sort of hard to ignore.
Yeah. Well, I think it's coming from the top to the bottom. And I think like based off of like the events that I've done, like the more family oriented, like smaller parties that I do, it seems like they're like a lot more chill. They're still like hesitant a little bit, and they're still a little. Some of them, sometimes like you get a little people are kind of worried, but for the most part, those small parties, I think that those families, they just want to live like those like, middle class families. They just want to like live and live their life. Like while these other bigger corporations like are they're just they're trying to crush us down into these draconian laws. Like for example, like what I mentioned to you like off air is that there's like a company, like a famous company that was supposed to hire me and do like an event, and everything was taken care of. Like everything was set. They had given me a deposit. I was set to go draw for them. I had given them like I would receive like a nice big check, which makes me think maybe I should have like charged them like half up front. Like I should have just made the deposit like half, like 50% of like the balance.
Yeah.
I'd be like, non-refundable deposit. But I didn't think I thought it was like already like in the bag. I was like, I'll make my money on the day. It seems legit. And not sure enough. Like I didn't expect this. I thought everything because the person I was communicating with had not said anything. And 2 days prior to like the event, she sent me an email saying, "Okay, this is where you register your vaccine card. That way, like when you come in, you don't have to show your vaccine card." I'm like, oh, shit. They have like a system where they log everybody's like vaccine card and all this bullshit. And so like that's coming from the top to the bottom. And I don't think everybody's like that. It's just that right now we are at war. Like it's coming from the top to the bottom. And I think some people are afraid, and that's why you kind of get that sort of like submissive behaviors by some people where they're still wearing a mask, even though you don't really have to wear a mask, and it's useless.
Yeah.
But yeah, like at the same time, like I wasn't really too disappointed because I've been blessed, but at the same time, it was kind of like powerful to be able to just walk away and be like, you know what, screw you guys. I'm not gonna like. Just for this job, I'm not gonna like. It was like a nice paycheck, but I'm not gonna like inject like some like go through some experimental procedure just to do like it has nothing to do with what I do. It has nothing
Yeah.
to, like it should have done like a contract. It has nothing to do with what I do. Like it has nothing to do with is like do I need to do that? It's like so. Actually, I did offer. I did tell him like, well, I'll do like a I was gonna say fake COVID test. I said I'll do like a negative COVID test, but no, they're like, no, I'm sorry. Like we tried, but
Yeah.
we can't get the World Economic Forum to agree with it. Fuck you guys.
Do you think like at my current job, my day job, I overheard someone talking about like Klaus Schwab and the World Economic Forum.
Yeah.
Do you think that like that is becoming more widely talked about and known? Because when I first when did I first hear about it?
Well, like you said, like a lot of people now are like kind of like submissive and sedated. So now like a lot of the stuff that's happening is stuff that we've been saying for years.
Yeah.
It was kind of like being taught. We weren't sure, like for sure that that's what their plan was.
Mm-hmm.
But like now, I mean, now they're just saying it out in the open. That's why they're saying it because there's so many people that are demoralized, and I think if you are demoralized, you shouldn't be because there's like a lot more people.
Yeah.
And this is not how we win. Like if we all kind of just give up. Whatever. Like nobody cares. Like that's how.
Yeah.
These globalists end up having their way, and that's what they count on. But yeah, they've been a lot more vocal, including we should maybe you have like what's his name, Obama's
tweet.
tweet,
where?
And this has to do with what happened again, like in Texas. Like,
where?
I mean, if you voted for him, and you look at this tweet and you think,
there it is.
This tweet is okay.
Uh-oh.
Like, I don't know what to say to you, man. It's like this.
Oh wait,
this guy is sick, man.
Yeah, and this right here is just really.
This is like sickening.
This shows a lot of like where the culture is to me. I guess it's rated as we grieve the children of Uvalde today. We should take the time to recognize that 2 years have passed since the murder of George Floyd under the knee of a police officer. His killing stays with us all to this day, especially those who loved him. Like there's like an annoying level of narcissism to this that I kind of see as part of like the grander problem that we are kind of going through. Like when I was going in college, like the kids there, they had like this real selfish sense of narcissism to them that was really, really troubling to me. Like no one really, like, if it was rare to meet someone that like genuinely felt humble, and like I think maybe it's a social media thing of like people feel that they have this sense of fame, like it's easily gained.
Yeah,
but it's kind of warping people's. It's really warping people's. I don't know, like their sense of self, their sense of community. Like I don't know. Like I don't know. What do you think about the narcissism thing?
I started thinking about like something else. I don't know if this kind of like goes along with the whole narcissism thing.
Let's go with it.
But I was gonna say something having to do with politicians. It seems that the things that they say, especially on the Democrat side, because it's more obvious, but obviously like Republicans do it too. But is like they'll say stupid things like we should end racism, or we need to like end world hunger, stuff that like everybody agrees with, and then you sort of like just jump on the bandwagon. It's like, I don't know if that's like part of the narcissism. Like it
I
just,
think, yeah, I kind of think it is.
but it's just they easily garner like people's support by saying the obvious things. But the problem is that the way their solution is not what you actually want. Like they're not actually going to end racism. They're going to do the opposite of that. Like whatever it is that they're promising, they're going to do the opposite of that. But it's so easy to agree on, and jump on the bandwagon is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like, for example, like one of the somebody posted like a while back about the what was it called, the other shooting that happened too.
Also in Texas.
It was in Texas, the one that they were calling him like a white supremacist.
Yeah.
In New York, right?
Huh?
Was it happened in New York? The other shooting?
I don't remember. There's a lot of like
anyways, there was
sketchy
like
stuff about that one too.
Yeah, there's like another shooting too, and it was being blamed on white supremacy, and it's just like the politicians will say whatever they need to say to garner your support. It's like stuff. Yeah, obviously we're all against like white supremacy, but it's like they have to create like this boogeyman in order to get support and for you to worship them, and that's the problem. It's like it's the same. It's like on the bigger level is the same thing. Like when your dad told you, it's like, oh, if you don't go to sleep, like the boogeyman's gonna get you. It's the same fucking thing. It's the same thing that they're doing on people, but people think they're like, oh no, like I'm doing something good, like I'm.
I think like the narcissistic level to this is that people think that like problems get solved by just having this very flowery opinion about things that this flowery opinion that is so socially acceptable, and if more people just have this opinion, the problem will just fix itself.
Yeah, it's like what you're saying. Like you're handing over your responsibility to the government, to the politicians, and when have they like solved anything? Like they're the most inefficient like piece of crap in the world, and they say, oh yeah, they're gonna end racism, they're gonna end white supremacy.
Yeah,
it's all like a big grift.
Yeah, but like when I look at when I look at someone like AOC, like it's easy to say that she might be a grifter, but I think people like that genuinely believe that they're on like the right path, because like I said, like the narcissism thing is like there's a fame element to it. People are they're liking her comments and shit like that. She's getting financial success to it. She has a job. Like all these things kind of confirm your beliefs. So like so in a way I think it's worse than someone being a grifter if someone just through full narcissism believes that they're doing the right thing, and because I think that's gonna guarantee that someone like an AOC is never going to change. I think the fame, like the recognition, all that kind of shit, like.
Yeah, I think so. Like I can't think the same thing like about Kamala. I think there's like a lot of people out there that they're so full of it that they think that they're in control.
Yeah.
But the only reason they were put there is because they're just like another pawn, another piece of the puzzle that's going to help the people who are really in control. But like there's certain like personality types that they definitely they definitely like target, such as AOC and Kamala Harris, to put in those places. It's like the same thing. Like even like if you're working at McDonald's or you're working in any like fast food place, you don't necessarily have to have like the best manager like they're working there. It's more about like, oh, who is gonna do like what we want them to do. It needs to be like a placeholder, somebody that's easy to control. They only took the job because they can say they're a supervisor and they can tell people what to do, but they're not really Because like if I was like a supervisor, I would actually be helpful. I could actually help people and like guide them and direct them and stuff
Yeah.
like that. I wouldn't be like some of these douchey like supervisors that okay, the only reason I became a supervisor is because I want to like talk down to you and
Yeah.
not actually get things done.
Yeah.
But most supervisors, especially like in fast food, they're just placed there because yeah, like, for the narcissism, and because it like whoever put them there can control them and can get them to do whatever they want.
Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, also to go back to like the thing about the fatherlessness, I can't think of like when I've started noticing, but maybe it was like I used to watch Maury a lot, like Maury Povich show. And whenever there was like the, he ain't the father kind of episode, like there would be that woman like, oh, it's fine, I don't need a man to take care of me, and everyone would cheer and shit like that. But
yeah,
like I would watch it like, no, that's actually horrible. Like your kid needs a dad. Like you need to know who the dad is for the kid's sake, because the kid's gonna feel really lost in life. And but that like this weird thing of like celebrating like single motherhood
moms,
and also like things like Sex in the City, like celebrating like just being single. And
yeah, I think like Friends
that.
did that a little bit too. Like before, like I don't think everybody was like more sort of like family oriented, and then Sex in the City, and then Friends, and like so, even though like I like Friends though. But yeah, they kind of push the whole like single thing, and it's like, oh yeah, it's good to be a single mom and whatever, and be with everybody and then be empowering and take care of your kids. And it's like no, it's like you can't feel like it's like being a narcissist too. Like you can't be like a man, you can't be a woman in a man. It's like it's two different. You can't feel like a man's shoes the same way a man can't feel a woman's shoes. It's like saying, oh yeah, like what they're saying now, like men can get pregnant. Like shut the hell up, man.
Yeah. Imagine, you saw that video? The what was it? Fuck, it was some like conference thing, and someone asked like some woman if like men can get like who can get pregnant, and she was like yes. She had like a cultiness to her. She had like she had glasses on, and she was just like, yes, I believe men can get pregnant. And like that's
the Asian.
Yeah, she was Asian, and
she's like, yes. I'm like, shut up.
Yeah, but all those people, like, they have a cultiness to them that is so off-putting to me. And that was something I've noticed for a while too. Like the more kind of SJW types, like they have this happy cultiness to them that was always just so creepy to me from the get-go, man. Like there's someone kind of in my family that had a sister, and like she always just rubbed me the wrong way. She was just always kind of weird to me, and like now she's like super into, she's like one of those like Latino student union people, you know what I'm talking about? And now I think she's trying to be a public school teacher, go figure. And yeah, she's into everything Marxist related. She's into, and she's about that life. And if you talk to her, that's just so weird about AOC to me, because like she has like that same cultiness that like that woman that I'm talking about have, like the same mannerisms, like that same weird like creepy fake smile. All that shit.
Oh yeah, it's been like so woven into like or like culture that it's hard, like a lot of the music that I grew up with. I got at the time I didn't realize, but like a lot of the symbols and things.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, man, I didn't see that as a kid. It's like damn, it's like I was like, I don't think I was a Marxist, but like even like some of the chants, like worker riots and all that stuff, like it's very like sort of like socialist sort of. It's
Yeah.
like it's like on the surface, I agree on. I agree, but at the same time, what it's going to lead to, it's going to lead to like, oh, let's go ahead and let the government like
Yeah.
do what's it's like what it's like so counter like what you think is going to happen. It's not like
Yeah.
the
Yeah.
workers. It's only going to empower the the government.
Yeah. I remember like I had someone else in my family, like really early on, in the early in the days when I first started using Facebook before I just kind of stopped. This person would like post a lot of really left-leaning things, and this was like fucking like early mid 2000s, and yeah, just seeing the shit that they would post, um, like I kind of get where they were, what they thought they were doing, like very like pro worker kind of shit, but
Mhm.
like just if you just took the time to just think about what they're asking for, it's like you're actually asking for more, like a kind of an elitist kind of way of thinking. Like you're thinking about, you think that like problems will be fixed if like just a certain powerful few were in charge and they were making decisions for people, and I like, but yet that person thought they were so anti-establishment, which was so bizarre to me. I know.
Yeah. It's like one of the greatest trick that the devil ever
Yeah.
was that he tricked people into thinking that he did not exist. And
Yeah.
the devil is the government. It's like they get people. They're really good at get people to think that they're what they want is like the same thing that we want.
Yeah.
We don't want the same thing that you want. But you've tricked like so many people into thinking, oh yeah, like that's what you really want. You want to like get rid of your rights. You don't need your Second Amendment. No,
Yeah.
you don't need it. It's like, oh, you don't need this. No, let's take your tax money and let's like spread it out. Let's do this.
Um, I guess. Do you want to get more into the shooter, or do you have any details about him?
Let me see. I was gonna like what's the other? Do I have any? Oh, well, yeah. The details were about like there's like the Gateway Pundit article. I think I sent you that
Let me.
they
I'll
there's
share
like
it.
a few different. Actually, there's like a timeline too. Like Newsweek has like a timeline, and
Mhm.
then the Gateway Pundit also like kind of like talks about it.
All right, let
But
me.
there's like a few different details where I think there's like a teacher that actually like um, leaves like the door open or like I don't know
Yeah.
if you read that. Like he actually
Let me open up the Newsweek one first. Wait, how do I do this? I have to do it. Putting on gunman, Fox News interview. Okay, so this is saying that.
oh no, this is like the other one. Oh yeah. I forgot. This doesn't have the timeline. This one is talking about that 4 years ago. Um, was yeah he was talking about like 4 years ago he was arrested for planning an attack,
Yeah.
and they seem to deny it, and there's nobody else that kind of like prove that it actually happened. But it's
Mhm.
interesting, like if you read this article towards the bottom, there was like an incident like about 4 years ago where there's two kids either like arrested or apprehended that
Mhm.
were like speculating or looking into into like a into shooting a shooting at the
Yeah.
school. And
Columbine.
yeah, they
Yeah.
were like where is it? And what's funny is that they say like the name of the two students who were involved in the 2018 incident are
Mhm.
all known. It's like,
Yeah.
well, if you don't have to say, well, you can just, I don't know, like I guess like they need to be like they can just say, oh, it's not. They would know
Mhm.
just to kind of clear that it wasn't the Ramos kid involved, but um, it's so dumb. Like The other details too is that he was actually on social media, right? It's not on this article, but he was actually on social media, sort of like um, echoing his moves, right? Right prior to actually going to the school.
I mean, I heard. I mean, I haven't really seen that much confirmation on it. I need to do a little bit more. But I heard that like he was actually like within like in the same Discord server as the other recent Texas shooter.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, another thing, it's you mentioned the thing about like naming that there is a weird thing about this is because one of the things that a lot of people say that kind of guarantees that stuff like this will continue to happen is giving like fame to the shooter. So it's kind of a weird like between a rock and a hard place thing of like presenting as much information about the guy but not giving him the fame. Like I don't know how, like in the world of journalism, like how you'd cover this, but with explaining as much as you can about the guy but not giving him that fame. I don't know,
Kind of like a double-edged sword.
Yeah, because like I don't think keeping it hush hush completely is really that, like, people need to know about, and people need to know the whatever facts needed, because or else you're just gonna get what people want now is just take away our Second Amendment kind of shit.
Well, what I would like people to kind of like look into or like pay attention to is like start looking. It's not to like make him famous, but like look at the patterns, because it's like much more it's not even about him.
Yeah.
Because with a lot of these school shootings, it seems that the FBI either already knows about these people or there's like prior history with these people. So we have to. The media has to be honest, and like any information that comes out, we need to know about it, because we need to know how he got to this point, because a lot of times media, the police, teachers, people know about certain behaviors, certain tendencies, and it's almost like it's allowed to happen. It's allowed to happen. So it makes me question is like, well, why was it allowed to happen? Why it's just the timing. Why is it that the NRA convention in Houston? It was like,
it's a little strange.
It's gotten to a point where you can't even say it's a coincidence. To me, it just seems like it's all too perfectly just fits in this sort of like, okay, like this is gonna happen. Like let's go ahead and pull the string. Like let's let it happen now.
I'm totally in the dark, but was he taken down, or is he just in custody?
He was shot.
Oh, he was? Okay, all right.
Yeah, what happened? Like we can go over this again, but like to like try make it as brief as possible. Like the police showed up, but they didn't do anything for like 40. I think the initial, there's like 4 of them that went in. They got shot at. I think 2 of them got injured. They fall back. And then there's like in a lapse time of like 40 minutes where there's kind of like there's like 20 of them just kind of sitting, standing outside, and then eventually the people that came in were like border patrol, and then right away, even though like the police like, oh, don't like stand down, like you're like stand down, they didn't hesitate. They just went in there and like just like one of them like actually shot and killed Ramos. So the police actually didn't, like, some people are saying like the police waited 40 minutes to actually go in there, but the police never really from what I see, never either went there or waited until like border patrol actually showed up to do something.
I think even wasn't it was it Parkland, the shooting with David Hogg, that douche? I think it was Parkland. I think like the nearest police officer, I think he just booked it. But it also comes to mind, like, I think another problem with this is just, oh, sorry about that, is just like, I think the left has to sort of acknowledge that their, how, like, the culture of how they sort of view police officers has sort of kind of contributed to this too, because I mean, like if you compare the right and the left, like, who's the ones that are usually more respectful of police officers, and who are the ones that usually demonize police officers?
Mm-hmm.
And like, I don't know, the officers that were involved in this, that were not, that, you know, that didn't go in for 40 minutes or whatever, but let's just say hypothetically that they were, you know, new officers.
Mm-hmm.
You know, they were part of some of the defund the police garbage. Like, some acknowledgement of has to be made to, like, yeah, it's kind of hard to.
I know what you're saying.
Yeah, like they sort of contributed to the police problem.
The dismantling of like quality police officers.
Yeah, but just like the image of a police officer, like, I respect the shit out of anyone here in LA that like wants to be a police officer, because just it's like cool to like have a negative, like a almost overtly negative view on police officers here. So like, and it's weird that this is coming from the same people who, you know, don't want the Second Amendment. It's like, you can't have it both ways. Mm-hmm. And it's this thing that like the left can't seem to acknowledge, that like these little things are the things that on a bigger scale like mounts up to something like this. I'm not trying to put the sole blame on anybody, but like, when it comes to these kinds of things, I don't think just pointing to one aspect of it is going to be the thing that's going to solve the problem. It's little things, because those little things kind of have bigger effects than people want to acknowledge. You know,
well, it's very short-sighted.
Mm-hmm.
Like they get like really emotional and like riled up, and they it's like when you make bad choices, like when you're drunk and when you're emotional.
Yeah.
And that will have consequences that are gonna like either last a lifetime, or it's just gonna like, stuff that you're gonna have to live with. Like, if you get drunk, you're not responsible. Like, in the matter of seconds, you get like, if you get into your car and you drive, and like you get into an accident, and it's like a fatal accident, like you just took a second. It's like, I don't know if I'm making a good point, but it's like it's just like, it seems that they're doing something good, but it's really short-sighted, because they have like long-lasting consequences, like what you're saying. Because I don't think the quality of the police officers that we have now are as good as what we had before, prior to the whole George Floyd thing that happened. And it's sad, because I'm not like, I don't worship police, but I understand like that we need like some kind of like protect. I mean we need like somebody out there.
Like, as much as like, the only like defund the police angle I can respect is if someone was to be more like super pro Second Amendment, like if they believe like everyone should have a gun. Like, if you're on that side, then like a more maybe like an anarchist, like you think that everyone should own a guns, then I like, your position on defund the police makes sense. But if you're talking defund the police, but yet you think people shouldn't be able to protect themselves, or the only thing they should protect themselves is like a knife and a baseball bat and the fist, like,
Well, they kind of like made fun of that a little bit too, like in The Simpsons, where
Hmm.
Lisa, like I don't know if you remember that episode with the monkey paw where she wished for like world
Oh
peace.
yeah, yeah,
Like everybody's like singing, holding hands, and like they get rid of
yeah,
all the guns, and they're all happy, and then like right when they get rid of all the guns, like the aliens like
yeah,
perfect opportunity to like come in, and so they come in like swoop in and start taking over.
yeah, yeah,
But
yeah,
then they make a joke out of that, and where like I think Mo ends up getting like this plank with like a nail and
yeah,
starts like
yeah,
the aliens away. And it's like we'll be back when you guys finally destroy yourselves with like a plank that's even bigger than
yeah,
you
yeah,
can handle. And it's almost like saying like, oh, maybe we're gonna like our own this demise is gonna be nuclear weapons.
yeah.
I don't know if that's predictive programming or what, but interesting episode.
Yeah. But I don't know, like when I hear people, talk about like, just repeal the Second Amendment, it's time. Like I don't like you have to have some sense of delusion to think that's going to work out.
Yeah.
Like whenever I had talks with people about like they were trying to like defund the police movement, I was like just to like point blank, like, you think criminals are just gonna stop when police aren't around? Like they're
Yeah.
just gonna like rob a liquor store and then they're gonna go outside and there's gonna be no cops and they're like, oh man, this isn't fun anymore. Oh man, fuck, I'm just gonna get a job and contribute to society in positive ways or some shit. Like, no, they're going to continue and it's going to get worse. Like,
Mhm.
but they just like the, I don't know, that like they like the fantasy of how something sounds like rather than like just the logistical common sense of it. I don't know what the
Yeah,
fuck.
the thing that pisses me off is like they don't really want to do anything.
Hmm.
Like they just like they want to hand over all their responsibility over to the government. They don't want really. They say things. Oh, I want to get rid of like racism, or I want
Yeah,
to take care of the planet. But like, what are you gonna do? You're just gonna like sign up for like more taxes, like
yeah,
and like it just doesn't make any sense. Like, how about you just start with yourself? Like, start with locally, like with start with yourself, take care of yourself, clean up your house, fix up your house, like
the
work on
Jordan Peterson way, you know.
the Jordan like from the from the local level up. Like I
Yeah,
don't understand like why people can't do like they just want to. It's just like the ego. They just want to be like, oh yeah, I'm against this. I'm like, I'm against it too, but I'm not gonna like. It's like, and
yeah.
I'm actually gonna do something about it. Yeah, I'm not gonna just sit back and just say this and that. It's like I don't know. I'm like a person. Like if I'm gonna, I don't really try to say too much. I just do it. I'm like, you know what? Shut the fuck up. I'm just gonna do it. I'm gonna do
Yeah,
it that.
yeah. I think that a lot of that kind of goes back to the narcissism thing. Like people, it's easier for people to just say something that is so, pat themselves on the back than rather than just doing something themselves. Like it's really,
Mhm.
like whenever someone always talks about like, like free healthcare or some shit like that, I just tell them like, you know what? If you really believe that, give more in taxes.
Mhm.
Like you can volunteer yourself, give more in taxes, start a hashtag like I'm putting more in taxes for healthcare. Be that person. Start it. Unless if you're not, then I just don't believe your shit. You just want to sound good for the sake of sounding good. You don't
And the
care.
problem too, the problem too is like I've like I've kind of like killed this like what's that saying like kill the donkey or beat this donkey to death like
Oh,
instead of being
uh, uh beating a dead horse or something. Yeah,
yeah
something
be
like
like an
yeah,
old dead horse
yeah,
but like I don't know it's like I have to keep repeating it because people just don't get it. It's like the reason why we have inflation isn't because of anything but the government.
yeah.
Like it's not our fault. It's not like something that we did. It's not something. It's not COVID. It's because the government doesn't have anything to provide. All they do is
Just
print
take.
more money.
Yeah,
They take. They when there's more currency in circulation than goods and services, I mean, it's gonna like lower the value. It's just gonna like lower the value of the dollar. It's not gonna be worth anything. It's like, what's the point of having like $1 million? Like if milk and eggs is gonna be like, well, look at gas prices.
Yeah. And I don't think,
like, what's the point of getting all those checks from the government if you're paying like $6-7 for gas now?
Yeah, and that's something that like it's hard for someone mostly on the left to like understand, like just little things like that. Like there's, what's it called? I think in business there's something called the like the cost to benefit analysis. You heard of that?
No, I've heard of it, but
it's sort of just like, you know, if I wanted to make a business selling hats or some shit like that, instead of just jumping in, I would have to go, okay, what's my demographic? How much would it cost to make a hat? Just little questions like that, and then at the end of your little breakdown, you kind of see like the pluses and minuses, and then you make your decision. But things like that's just something that the left doesn't really do. They just jump in on the bandwagon and ignore like those little logistical questions, and then they turn around and see, you know, that inflation's crazy and crime in LA is fucking out of hand, and you know it's Trump's fault or some shit like that. Like it's like the lack of self-awareness is just fucking insane to me.
Well, that's what this tragedy also did. It's getting it's distracting us from like all this inflation, like $7 gas prices, like all this stuff, like, and all this stuff that's going on with the World Economic Forum, and then the whole Durham thing, and like it's already been proven, and like that Hillary paid for the whole.
Isn't she? Isn't there like a court case right now going on because of that?
Yeah, with Sussman.
Yeah.
I didn't get like can't really say too much about that just because I was looking at the other stuff. I was kind of busy, but if you guys really want to get some good information on there, like any little bit of information, you should check out Red Pill 78.
You should also check out I think his name is Kash Patel. Kash Patel, I think his name is. Yeah, he's been on Tim Pool, and every time he's on, he breaks down like how the Russia thing was kind of dog shit. Yeah. I would suggest anyone to just give him a listen. And have you seen the what's it called? There's a documentary like I think the case against the president or something like that. I think that's what it's called, but I think Kash Patel had a big part in that, and that breaks down the whole Russia thing. Have you heard anything about the what's his name, Dinesh D'Souza's
2000 Mules, right?
Yeah, have you heard anything about that?
I've heard of it, but like I haven't had the chance to actually watch it. I think you have to like actually purchase it.
Oh, you have to pay for it. Okay.
Yeah, you have to pay for it. Like I was gonna do it, and I've been like so busy.
Yeah. It's hard for me to like sit down and check out any of that shit right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's.
But like I said, like so many things are going on, and like this happens. It's almost like it was a very time.
Yeah. But also, I mean, wasn't like 2 or 3 weeks ago, like there was a black supremacist guy who was sniping people and like Facebook lived it. Do you know about that?
No.
Yeah, that happened. It legitimately happened, and like, you know, it does beg the question of like, why wasn't that bigger news? Like I only heard about it through what's his name? Fuck. Jack Posobiec.
Okay.
I think he tweeted about it, and I only saw like a few news articles about it. And yeah, he sniped people. Facebook lived it.
You know how many people?
I don't remember. I have to track down the shit, but yeah, man, just like media selection bias is a big problem too. And again, just something that
It's also like a problem. People that deny, like whenever you mention like what up, and they'll always say, well, actually, I won't even participate because I'm already anticipating because they've been doing it for years. Like if it's like if it doesn't fill the narrative,
yeah,
if it's like if it doesn't fit into like if it's like being underreported, like what's going on like in Chicago, like people are like, well, what about Chicago? How come you guys aren't like
yeah,
say anything about this? They'd be like, oh well, that's different. Like I'm tired of you guys saying the whatever. Like no, it's like if you care
yeah,
about people, if you care about life, if you care about like the direction that this country is going in, like
yeah.
this story should matter too. It's like why is it that you're only paying attention? You're actually only paying attention to the ones that the mainstream media
Yeah,
is
it's like you care.
emphasizing.
It's like you care only if you care about something only if you're told to care about it.
Yeah, it's like
You know?
it just seems so strange. I'm like, well, no, look at the whole big picture. It's like, why is it that they want you to focus so much on
Yeah.
this? Ask yourself.
It doesn't like Chicago like every like Memorial Day weekend have like the most like bloodiest weekends. I
Yeah,
think
but
it's Chicago, but because it's black on black crime, that no one
yeah,
gives a shit.
it's all about white supremacy. It's so stupid, man.
It's fucking weird, man. Okay, maybe we should start winding down. Um,
Well, right now it's like the biggest. I mean, I know we're not going through slavery anymore, but like right
yeah,
now, I think the black community are being targeted the most because a lot of the crime that some of them are committing is just being like overlooked. They're just people are turning away, and it's just and then when you try to call it out, like they just ignore it. So like they're like, oh, okay, yeah, like well, it just is conditioning them to like say, oh, it's okay.
yeah, like
And then
it's
when you point it out, it's like you're made out to look like you're racist. No, like I just don't want anybody of any race, of any gender, to be encouraged to act a certain way. This is unacceptable behavior coming from anybody. It's like the girls. I think that beat up this one Hispanic girl because of I think she was either white or Hispanic. She got beat up, and it's like all on camera. And she got beat up, and then they blur their faces.
was it
Why?
the I remember there was something about like some black kids kidnapped a retarded kid and Facebook Live it. Was it that or something else?
Oh no, there's like so many of them.
Oh.
No, this is like another one that happened like a few weeks ago where there was like
Okay.
this one girl, either Hispanic or white,
Hmm.
and I guess she was lighter in complexion. I think was confused for white,
Yeah.
and she had like braided hair. So I think there's like these four other black girls that came up and just started like beating her
Oh
up,
yeah,
and
yeah,
it's all on video,
yeah.
and they blur their faces. I'm like, why are you blurring their faces? Like it's like take some kind of accountability. It's like they need like even though they're like teenagers or whatever age they were, it's like you the news, the media can like it's almost you're by doing stuff like that, you're kind of like encouraging it.
Yeah,
I
but
think
also like by ignoring it, you're sort of
ignoring
encouraging it too. 'Cause
you're ignoring it, you're
you're
encouraging it,
stating that it's not that big a problem, so just persist and
and then this like is all it's gonna do is actually gonna create like real racism,
yeah,
like racism between not just like white people but like black people too. It's like it's just they're perpetuating the problem even more.
hmm,
And I hope people start taking a look. I know there's like a lot of people that are just afraid to start talk about this, but it's happening. Like it's I don't know. I just wish people would address this more and just say, oh, okay, well, we're especially the black community. You're being targeted. You think it's cool because the ones that are doing this and you're getting away with it. Like you think they're
Mm-hmm.
getting away with it. It's just I don't know. It's just warping people's minds, and
Yeah.
it's not going to lead to anything good.
Yeah, but I mean, also too. I mean, like the establishment or the left, whatever you want to call it, like they kind of have a part in where why the black community is where it's at. I mean that right, like think about like how glorified like thug culture was back in the 90s versus I mean just how black conservatives are portrayed now.
Mm-hmm.
Like the
Yeah.
thug culture celebrated, it's cool, it's but like the Republic, like, any black conservative or just like any proper speaking black person in the show is usually portrayed negatively. Like that's going to have an effect on just the culture in general. But
Mm-hmm.
like I always found it weird because I'm a hip hop fan. Like the groups that I listened to mostly, they weren't like gangsta rap groups. They were
Mm-hmm.
like just good dorky kind of weird groups that didn't really promote any of that shit, but they wouldn't really get that much
Attention.
like media attention. It was
Yeah.
just like the Nellies and shit like that.
Yeah. That's like I wasn't like I didn't get like too into hip hop even like in the '90s, but I remember
Yeah.
like the hip hop or the music that I listened to or like that I actually got into
Yeah.
was like what you said, like just kind of like good beats, good flows, just like
Yeah.
clean sort of rap, just like good fun rap.
Yeah,
Like I love like Dell is like fucking awesome.
Oh, Della Funk Gamer Sapien?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but that was like when gangsta rap was at its most popular. I didn't really like it all that much. Like I didn't like hate it, but I thought it was somewhat kind of overplayed. Like I was like, that's
Yeah.
fine, but what about Tribe Called Quest? What about
Yeah.
why not them? But like those groups like just didn't really get that much of a
Push, yeah.
push, and like it's easy to say like, oh, that's because they just didn't sell as much units, but a lot of it does has to do with just how much it was pushed.
Yeah, it's by design because like I know I brought this one up too, but like even if you look at the magazines like in your supermarket, who the hell are buying those magazines like the Time magazines and then you look at the covers and it's all the same people as Angelina Jolie, as the Queen of England, and all this stuff. Like how can like anybody like if you or me or like anybody with like or like somebody that had like even more money than us that had like a small business that had like income to like put into a business, they would not be able to survive like a week like selling those magazines. How is it that those magazines survive? How is it that those magazines work? Like they have like the push, they have like they have money that flow. Like that's the reason why certain like rap groups get propped up and certain like and others don't. It's just like because I've seen so much talent like where that just does not get the recognition that it deserves.
Yeah, that's why in high school I actually hung out, even though I was not a punk or anything like that. I actually hung out with the punks because there was something that we sort of had in common, in that like we were people that like kind of went outside the mainstream and like found our own fun. Like we found our own music through just on our own. It wasn't something that was just given to us or was on television. And I'm kind of curious to like I think a lot of people like us like were kind of similar. Like we were just people that we sort of found our own niche that wasn't like establishment pushed. So I'm kind of curious about like talking to more people that are more into this kind of culture war stuff, because I think I imagine that'd be a huge similarity. Like you were just someone that just didn't really pay it. You paid attention less and less to whatever the mainstream was, and you were into fucking collecting stamps or some shit like that, and you know what I mean. All right, damn, we should probably kind of start.
Yeah, we can wrap it up. I think I have to like wake up early tomorrow. Get going.
All right, I guess this the first episode we done was just me and you. So that's kind of fun.
Oh yeah, like I wish we'd have like gone over that other one, like the video. Maybe we could like next time. Like there's like the video, but it's kind of hard to watch. It's the video where like the cops are kind of like just waiting outside, and they they didn't do anything. They actually tackled this one, I think, dad. From
I guess we can play it really quick, just to.
Yeah, just kind of if you want, just. I think it's from the Gateway Funding.
All right, we'll go another 5 minutes, and then. Yeah, here it is. Whoop. Can't do both. All right, here it is.
I think it's.
All right, here it goes. Here's a video, right? I guess let's pause it. So,
there's that guy in the back pinned down by, I think, the cop.
So yeah, these were the cops that refused to go inside as the whole shit was going down, and they waited 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Fuck. And did they give any like explanation as to why this happened?
There's like that one tweet I think that I gave to. Oh, that yeah. Actually, you know what? Let me go ahead and maybe can I share my screen really quickly?
So I can show you. Sure.
So and then you can show that video really.
Yeah.
Let me see if I can find it. Where are you? It's not that one. It's not this one. It's not that one. It's this one. Okay, the Jorge Ventura. Let's see. Let me. Where are you? Where are you? Okay, and then it's this one. Oops, where are you? Close this one. Let's see. Oops, not that one. I just had it open a second ago.
You got it?
Tell me, can you see this or?
Yeah, I got it. See. Oh, okay, yeah. Let's see if I can switch it up. All right.
Okay, so this is what happened. Like he says, this is actually a really good on the ground journalist. If you guys,
Jorge Ventura, he's great. Yeah.
So he's talking about Texas DPS treated the active shooting as a barricaded subject. So instead, so they treated the situation as a barricaded subject. So they didn't think he was a threat to the kids. So instead of an active shooter, so they didn't.
Jeez.
And this is despite the fact that children were calling 911 and asking for police to come in.
Yeah.
And so this is really sad, but this is how they reported, even though they treated it as a barricaded subject that posed no threat instead of an active shooter, and they waited 40 minutes, and then until stop sharing until so the police didn't do shit, but then like the Border Patrol people came in, even though they were told to stand down, they went in there anyways, and they got the job done. Or the one guy.
I guess let's share the video before we go. I'll do it.
Yeah, go and share it, and I'm gonna go to the bathroom really quick. I'm not mute myself. Yeah, just maybe play a little bit.
All right, this is the video. We'll check it out. Cut down the volume a bit. All right.
Y'all should have fucking seen that motherfucker like that. parar, güey! ¡Where's the shooting?
Right? You can stop it.
Yeah.
Kind of. Yeah, it just kind of pisses you off.
Yeah, it's really fucked, man.
Yeah.
Very weird decision, weird event. Why would that? It's fucked, man.
Yeah, well, even before like I knew all this, like I knew that this has like a potential for a false flag,
Mm-hmm.
and a lot of these things are just like they're planned. They're allowed to happen.
Yeah.
They're just allowed to happen.
So many questions about this. So weird, man.
Mm-hmm.
Such a fucked up situation.
Yeah, and then as time, what sucks is that like as time passes, like more details are gonna come out.
Yeah.
But then maybe like you and I will kind of like find out things and like, oh wow, like I didn't know that happened, or like I can't believe like that was overlooked. But then like a few months, a few weeks from now, people are just gonna be like forget this.
Yeah, people's memory.
Yeah.
People's memory, like these last couple COVID years have been so short term. It's really something. Like
That's one of the reasons why I don't even drink anymore. Like I don't
yeah.
smoke or drink. It makes me, because I can't live a lie. I can't live in a
Mhm.
world of delusion. I want to be able to live life, even if it's like a hard. I mean, if it's hard, like I want to be able to face it head on.
Yeah.
And if I can do something about it, if I can make a difference, if
Yeah.
I can open people's eyes, even indirectly, because I know I've said this before, like where you want to reach like certain people, you directly like try and reach out people, and those are the people that very rarely are you able going to convince or like
Yeah.
open their eyes, but it's going to be the people that you indirectly touch or that you make an impression on. Maybe you'll
Yeah.
never meet them, but if I can at least like maybe or both of us make like a difference and indirectly
Yeah.
like, have like a positive impact on people. It's like everything that we say, like, or especially what I say, that may seem like being insensitive or not
Yeah.
care. I mean, I actually do care. It's just
Yeah.
that I don't know how to express. These are like really
They're
messed up
they're
things.
really complicated and
Yeah,
very real
yeah,
things, and
yeah.
I think just the goal. I think the best we can probably do is just at least get some people's gears to start moving. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah, start to look at the patterns. Look into like what a false flag
Yeah.
is. Don't think that a false flag is this is all fake. I mean, there are, I do believe that there are crisis actors out there,
Mm-hmm.
but in a lot of these situations, people do actually die,
Yeah.
and this is not fake. It's just that a lot of these things are planned or allowed to happen. I'm sure the FBI knew about this kid. I knew. And didn't do anything about it. I know there's things that could have been done before. A lot of times before like any of these tragedies happen, they could have been prevented.
Yeah.
And if you pay attention, like you'll see that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of times where FBI, police, people just ignore it, and there's a reason because a lot of time it's because of by design.
Yeah. All right, I guess we'll just end it there on a happy note.
Oh no, I was gonna say like you should.
I'm just fucking with you.
Is there something? I didn't want that to be the last thing.
Yeah, that's okay.
There's gotta be something that we can play like that was because I kind of like the way that we sort of like ended last time where we played that one monster one. It was kind of like
monster one.
Not the creature one.
Oh yeah, the zombie woman. Yeah, I forgot about
that. The abortion rights.
Nah, I think we should just end it here.
Oh, okay. No, I just.
We'll save it for another time.
No, I was just saying, like, if you had like a picture or something.
Yeah.
I didn't want to like end it like that, but I just want to not ignore that. I want people because I know like a lot of people have like a limited amount of like what they watch.
Yeah.
And you're not gonna get this from like even Fox News or maybe you will, but that was from like the Gateway Pundit. And
yeah.
it's like one of those sites that people are afraid to look at because it's associated with Trump and all this. But
yeah.
People need to like start. Like, I look at stuff. I look at CNN. I look at other things that I may not completely agree, but I just want to have an idea of what everybody is saying, even people that I disagree with or I think are lying. I just want to have like a big picture of what's going on.
That's an issue of just people not looking outside of their box. That's a whole other discussion.
Yeah.
Let's save that for next episode.
Yeah.
All right, I guess we'll just end it there. I guess if you want to plug anything or not.
No, I've been lucky enough that I don't really have to plug.
Yeah.
I've been actually like this past week since they canceled the event. Like I kind of like worked on updating my website a little bit, and I've been getting a lot more inquiries for events, and I try to keep this separated from like what I actually do because even like with some of the art accounts that I follow, like whenever they start getting like really heavy on the politics, I'm like, I didn't start following you for like your politics, and it's like I don't want people to look at me the same way. It's like I'm sure people that follow me now is because they want to hire me for what I'm what I do. It's like I'm not in no way an expert at what on this, but I think it's stuff that especially in our art communities kind of being ignored or not thought about as much as possible. So I'm glad I'm able to just try to keep it separated, at least for now. Hopefully. That's why I'm not plugging anything.
All right, I guess we'll just end it there. I'm Senor Filth, co-host. Thanks to my co-host, Benevolent Asshole. Thank you guys for watching. See ya. Peace.